Now at 11, a man reportedly attacked by the person hired to take care of him.
When he came in and pulled a gun on me and stuff, I never would have expected it from him.
Tonight we're taking a look at the allegations of abuse and why charges are just now being filed. Plus we're going one-on-one with the pilot behind the miracle on the Hudson. Our conversation tonight with Captain Sullenberger about landing that airplane and aviation safety 15 years later.
It's been a soggy night for central Indiana. Rain continues to fall. I'll check radar and get you ready for your Thursday morning drive.
And I'm breaking down all the highlights between the Pacers and Magic. Live from Indy, you're watching 13 News. And we begin tonight with this live look outside. Rainy conditions will be lingering into Thursday. So make sure you've got a jacket, an umbrella, ready to go tomorrow morning when you head out. Thanks for inviting us in. It's now 11 o'clock. Angela's here now to time it out for us.
And we're timing the heaviest rain starting to shift into the eastern half of the state. So as expected, we expect the majority of the steady rain to be ending around midnight for most of us. This is radar over the last couple of hours. You can see the movement of the heavier rain we've been dealing with, moving from southwest to northeast. Still some pockets of heavy rain, southeastern sections of Marion County, south along 74 through Shelby County. We've got heavy rain in Greenfield over into Knightstown, up into Newcastle as well. Let's travel north. Not as heavy, but definitely the steady rain continues from Anderson up through Marion into Hartford City. The back edge of the weather system still across parts of Illinois. That means even though the heavy rain is moving out, there will still be some wet roads and a few showers around for that Thursday morning drive.
Angela, thanks so much. Make sure you've got our WTHR weather app on your phone tonight. That way you can check the radar and our blog, making sure that you're well prepared when you walk out the door in the morning. Our weather app is a free download and you can get it in the App Store. And now to a man who says he was attacked and nearly robbed by his now former caregiver. Police tell us this happened back in August, but the suspect was just charged today. Our Chase Howell talked with a man who told him he hasn't been the same since this all unfolded.
Honestly, it's heartbreaking. I mean, here this guy was supposed to be taking care of him, but instead Leonard Royer says he took advantage and physically harmed him.
That's why when you knocked on my door, I thought, who is it?
Royer is wheelchair bound and requires someone to care for him after a stroke in 2019. But the person he hired in 2022, Royer says, did anything but help him.
A week after I moved in here, he pretty much put me in the hospital for neglect and stuff, because he wouldn't take care of me. I mean, he wouldn't cook for me. He would clean, but not very good, and just wasn't doing what he should have been doing.
Royer says he was playing cards with some friends in his now empty kitchen in August when a knock came at his door. He says standing on the other side of it was his caregiver, Dwayne Finklia.
When we answered the door, he came in and looked around and stepped back out and then came in, pulled a gun on everybody, told everybody to get their hands up. And then I was in here in the living room and he walked over to me and smacked me in the face and told me he wanted money.
While Royer says he didn't get away with anything, he says Finklia somehow drained his bank account. But according to court records, this wasn't the first time he's taken from Royer. One woman police interviewed says Finklia had a history of taking advantage and stealing from him.
I get really depressed, sometimes I get suicidal, and it really messed me up, you know, but I'm living with it.
The Special Needs Alliance, an organization that advocates for those with disabilities, says if you think someone is being abused or exploited, report it to a school, social services, or to a healthcare professional. The Alliance also says to call police and to make a report to the state or local child or adult protective services agency. As for Royer, the last few months he's been trying to manage without having a caregiver in hopes he's able to get into an assisted living facility. Royer says his father, who's in his 80s, along with one of his case managers, has been helping him around the house. As far as Finklia, he faces armed robbery, intimidation, and battery. Reporting here in Indianapolis, Chase Howell, 13 News.
Tonight, a man accused in a 30-year-old murder case just appeared in a Marion County courtroom for the first time. Dana Shepard tonight is accused of raping and killing 19-year-old Carmen Van Huss. Police arrested him in Missouri back in August, saying DNA linked him to this case. Investigators say someone killed Van Huss in her own apartment on the city's north side back in 1993. The coroner determined Van Huss had been stabbed more than 60 times. Shepard is expected to go on trial in January. Tonight, we're getting a clear picture of President-elect Donald Trump's incoming administration. Trump building out his list of cabinet nominees. So let's break down what we know so far. Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz is Trump's nominee for Attorney General. Gaetz has regularly attacked the Justice Department and the FBI, which he would oversee if he's confirmed. The DOJ and FBI investigated Gaetz for possible sex trafficking, but the case ended last year without any charges. He denied any wrongdoing, and after that, Gaetz called for the abolishment of the FBI. Florida Senator Marco Rubio is Trump's nominee for Secretary of State. Rubio is currently the vice chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee and a member of the Foreign Relations Committee. South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem is Trump's nominee for Homeland Security Secretary. Noem has a long history of taking hardline positions on immigration. And Fox News host and military veteran Pete Hegseth is Trump's nominee for Secretary of Defense. Hegseth is a combat vet who was a captain in the Army National Guard. He served overseas in Afghanistan and Iraq and started working at Fox in 2014. I'm joined in studio tonight by Logan Gay, who's been talking to a professor at UIndy. So does she see any problems or challenges with these confirmations?
Well, Scott, she says some of these nominations are surprising, like Gaetz for AG, but she expects because the GOP controlled the Senate that these nominations will go through.
Political expert Laura Wilson says President-elect Donald Trump wasted no time announcing nominations for his incoming cabinet.
And probably part of doing this so early, too, is to get that out there, to get the public enthusiasm, excitement, especially over his supporters, but also to make it very clear for the Senate after the inauguration and after we're beginning a new congressional session with a Republican-led Senate, right? They need to work on those confirmations so those people are in office and they're able to hit the ground running.
She says what makes Trump's second administration's cabinet unique are the names and faces people will recognize.
By selecting these people who are either current or previous elected officials, they're well-known public figures, I think it adds that level of accountability. But typically, the cabinet members have been much more invisible, largely invisible to the public.
Wilson is also paying close attention to the newly formed Department of Government Efficiency, which will be led by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. She says the co-leaders will have a tight time frame. Trump has given them until July 2026 to fulfill their objectives, including cutting wasteful spending.
Generally, this is a pretty popular idea. A lot of Americans feel like government is unchecked, that there's too much bureaucratic red tape, that there's so much waste and inefficiencies, and it's very expensive. This is actually creating more bureaucracy to check that bureaucracy.
Wilson says although some of the cabinet nominations may be controversial, Trump appears to have a system.
I think the emphasis here in the strategy behind Trump's selections is really looking at loyalty and making sure that he's creating a cabinet with a composition of folks that will agree with his ideology. They're going to follow his America First agenda.
The former president is also pushing to appoint cabinet members when the Senate is in recess, avoiding confirmation votes. I guess time will tell what happens next. In Indianapolis, Logan Gay, 13 News.
Here's a look at the other stories making headlines right now. A coroner in northern Indiana just determined a man who stopped breathing while pinned by deputies died from natural causes. Riker Earl died back in September after Jasper County deputies restrained him while holding him down on the floor. His family called them for help after he had 2 seizures. Tonight, the Lake County coroner says Earl died from heart disease. Tonight, we're learning more information about the arrest of a student at Ben Davis High School. In court documents, IMPD says they were tracking the student's social media after the teen got arrested for dangerous gun possession. And investigators said they saw images of him with guns and then got a search warrant. School police took the teen into custody on Monday. Tonight, a school district in Clinton County is using a new tool to get drivers to stop for school buses. The device projects a red beam onto the road, creating a barrier for students and a reminder for drivers. 2 buses for Rossville Consolidated Schools currently have this tech, with plans to expand. Tonight, dozens of people who were experiencing homelessness now have a warm place to sleep. We were at the ribbon cutting for Compass on Washington. This is a housing community on the east side of Indy. 36 apartments will be ready for move-in next week. Remember, you can find all of our latest local stories anytime on our 13 News app.
It won't be as heavy, but still keep that umbrella handy in your Thursday forecast.
Captain Sullenberger became a hero when he landed an airplane on the Hudson River, saving 155 people on board.
If I have to be the public face of an event, fortunately it was one that was good.
Tonight, the Purdue alum speaks with our Dustin Grove about that day 15 years ago and the state of aviation now. That conversation's next.